Yesterday, I did a podcast with Carl Munger. He was the former executive director of Gallant Few. Now he's the clinical director of Gallant Few. And we were having this conversation about this thing that I said on Mike Ritland, which I guess we'll just cut to that.
Yeah.
Like, hold the fucking phone here. You're the guy that went through RIP, BRC, fucking like selection, got the fucking Raider of the Year award. You've killed more people than fucking polio, and all of a sudden, civilian life is what's gonna fucking cripple you and kill you?
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
Like, you're a warrior.
Act like it.
Act like it.
Yeah.
So why can't we combat transition and combat post-traumatic stress or combat an injury or combat depression just with the same fucking tenacity that we do the enemy?
Yeah.
That shit blew my mind, man.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of that talk, like, keep in mind, like, that clip, I guess it was a little bit taken out of context because I got a lot of hate for it. And I still stand by what I said, that, you know, the veteran community, these guys like law enforcement, first responders, veterans, military, whatever you want to call it, that subsect of personality, the culture that they are a part of and the core values, the what matters to them, the warrior mindset, whatever you want to call it. And I know that's like a little bit cliche, but that drive, that interpersonal drive to accomplish the mission, and then they leave that community, whether it be the military community or law enforcement community, and they don't let the enemy destroy them. They don't let the bad guys destroy them, but it's like life that crushes them. And the clip was like basically being like, I don't buy it. But the point of that was, and it came from a very personal, you know, if anybody has read my book knows that Excommunicated Warrior, 7 Stages of Transition, knows that it comes from a very personal place for me, of me struggling the exact same way. But I had to tap back into where I come from, what got me to my perseverance through adversity that got me to go through the next level. And what you don't see unless you watch the entire 3-hour podcast is me talking about that. And it was funny because Carl and I were discussing that clip and talking about it. He's like, yeah, absolutely. And really it just comes down to, I think that veterans don't need, and when I say veterans, I mean like people from that community, law enforcement, the fire service, first responders, that just have a different, you know, they're cut from a different set of cloth. They don't need motivation. We just need another mission. And I don't mean this to be like derogatory. It's because we're like working dogs. And if you've ever been around a working dog, if a very intense, focused working dog doesn't have a job, they will fuck up everything. They will rip holes in the couch. They will dig up holes in the yard. They have to have a purpose. And guys from that community, including myself, if we don't have a clear mission, a clear purpose, something that's driving us forward, man, we dig holes in our life. And those holes are alcohol, drugs, women, gambling, pornography, just debauchery. And we already kind of come from a community of debauchery, so it's very easy to fall into. And it was a culture of debauchery, but then it turns into like a culture of like self-deprecating sadness. So it's like you turn the volume up on that trait and it goes in there. But the reality is, all that we need, we are like very intense, high profile working dogs. And all a working dog needs is a mission. And that's when it comes down to us, is like, we just need the next mission, because our personality type is built that way. And there's nothing wrong with it. And I think that that's the problem, is that there's a society that comes across that says, oh, they're broken and they need support. They're not fucking broken. They just need a job. And I'm not talking about a job, like a job you go to think. They just need something that they're building, a mission, an enemy to attack, whether it's an enemy within themselves or whatever. But you have to have purpose and you have to be on mission. If you get those individuals and you give them a mission, that's when they will start to thrive. What's the fix then? Like, motivation's not the answer. I'm not broken. The reality is you just need a freaking target. Like, we need a target to hit. Every single time that we've had a target to hit, now we can plan around it. We can train towards it. We wake up and we have something to drive towards it. And the reality is, unfortunately, you know, when you get out, like, say you join law enforcement, military, whatever, at 18 years old, like, you're on purpose, you're on mission, on task the entire time. And all of a sudden you get out 30 something years old, now you're 30, 40. You don't have that, you don't have someone dictating what the mission is anymore. You're on your own. You don't have a, you know, commander. You don't have a unit. You don't have a unit mission. So the reality is you have to become your own captain. You're the captain of your ship. You're the CEO of your own life. You are the commander. And, you know, the reality is maybe some of us have never had that before. And even for me, man, when I left the military, I didn't realize how much I relied on the system. And I don't mean the system as like the government system, but I mean like the system of the community that I was in. Same with law enforcement. Like, you're in a system, you're in a routine, you have partners, you have, you know, shifts. Like, you're in this grind of a thing. And when you get out, you're on your own. You don't really have that. And so you don't need hype, you don't need motivation, you just need a freaking target to hit. And every single time when you have a target to hit, you wake up with clarity. And I think that's what's missing. And that's the reason why guys, you know, they get out, they gain weight. I did it, dude. I was 240 at like sub 10%. And then you guys seen the pictures where I'm 240 and 30% body fat. And it's because I didn't have a clear target to hit, a clear mission. And then, you know, without that, you're that working dog stuck digging holes in the freaking yard or digging holes in your life. So the question becomes, what is the next mission? And like, for me, you know, it was a lot of things. Like, once I figured out like the same traits that made me a special operations Marine, that made me a force recon Marine, these same traits that made me persevere getting out of gangs and going to, you know, getting locked up in juvie and, you know, changing my life. All the things that in my entire life, all the perseverance through adversity, that same trait that made me what I was in special operations is what's made me successful in civilian life. I just had to remember who the fuck I was and take that and point it towards a mission of building businesses, becoming the husband that I wanted to be, or that I was created to be, the father that I was created to be, the man that I was created to be. And that's all it is. And so, like, when Josh and I realized this a long time ago, 7 years ago, that's when we created the Agoge. It was like, oh, dudes, they don't need motivation. They just need another unit to be in, another unit that aligns with their mission. So that we've created that. We've created a organization, a brotherhood, another unit for guys to be in that just aligns with the next mission. That's it. You're not broken. You don't need motivation. You don't need hype. You need a target to fucking hit, and you need a brotherhood to be a part of. And that is it. For our type of guys, that is all we need. And we will freaking crush the competition. Peace.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate that. Remember to like it. Remember to drop me a comment. I want to respond to it. I'm actually the one responding to the comments. And if you like this video, you're going to absolutely love this one right here.